1051.
Yeah. Now you're in Atlanta now, because I know you were in Miami at one time, so now it's in Atlanta.
Yeah, we was in Miami doing Hip Hop Weekly, and then we had moved the operations to Atlanta, and we had moved the operations before I had got on the show, so we had just figured like Atlanta had always been a good market for the magazine as far as Hip Hop Weekly goes, so we just felt like it was time for a change. We had been in Miami for like 6 years.
So talk about Hip Hop Weekly, because when you look at Twitter on Monday nights, they're like, Benzino on Loving Hip Hop, where he been? Like, yada yada. Let him know you know.
I mean, after the whole Source situation, we had opened up an office in Manhattan, but at that time it was like, New York can be hard, you know what I'm saying? So like, we just felt like it was just time for a whole new atmosphere, you know what I'm saying? So me and Dave, we went down to Miami, opened up the office. We had already been doing the Source Awards down there. So we was real familiar with the territory. So we just opened up the offices down there and just ended up staying down there. Miami's a beautiful place.
So Hip Hop Weekly is you and Dave Mays' magazine?
That's our baby, yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you ever feel like trying to make amends with things that have happened in the past?
Of course.
Have you tried to?
I'm trying to right now, yeah.
Like with Eminem or anybody from on that side?
The Eminem situation is just different. I mean, it'd be good if we would be able to really sit down and meet. It's not like we've ever really been in a room together, ever really met, and never really talked about the situation. I mean, I'd be open to it. I understand he's a great influence on the culture, and thinking back, I probably could have did things differently. I had the Source as a platform, and you just get caught up, and at the time I was just caught up.
Do you think using when you came out of the face of the Source and then using the Source for your own agenda, to slander people like Eminem and 50, do you think that that hurt the credibility of the Source?
You know what? It's like a double-edged sword, because now people, back then when I was with the RSO and Made Men and we was putting ads in the magazines, it was kind of like the first time that was happening, so people took it the wrong way. But now when you see, DJs, people that run the internet, they all have artists and they all have stuff that they promote on their own platform. I just think it was early in the game and people were so caught up with the mic system and so, into the magazine, I probably didn't even realize it. I mean, at times when I was with the Source, I really even never knew how much people, took to heart, mic ratings. And, I've never gave anybody, other than the situation with me and Eminem and the Made Men, which, I definitely believe it was a mistake to give the Made Men 4.5 mics, because at the same time, like, I shouldn't have did that, but I've never been involved with giving anybody mics, other than that situation with me.
Yeah, didn't they say like the editor-in-chief resigned after that because he had submitted it? And
it was.
I don't know. I'm just all rumors.
No, definitely. It was, like with the Source, it was always kind of like a divided office. You had the editors over there, then you had the business here, and in business, when you got people paying a lot of money for ads, that's the business side, and you're taking care of that. But then, at the same time, the artists could be getting 2 mics or 2.5 mics, and then there's problems because, you're paying all this money for advertisement, and then you're saying, hey, well, wait a minute, y'all are giving my artists, it's not a good look. So, I mean, those are the things, the really the behind the scenes things that people didn't know about. But at the end of the day, man, a lot of great people were involved with making that magazine what it is. And I got nothing bad to say about anybody. Everybody over there was doing great work, and what's in the past is in the past.
Do you read it now?
Yeah, when you see it now, like on the newsstands, what does it do? How does it affect you?
I don't. I didn't read it too much back then, and even Hip Hop Weekly, like we put it together so much and we're so involved with putting it, the magazine together. When it comes out, it's not too many times I would go through it just to see any errors or any, F-ups or anything. But other than that,
Now, how did you get involved with the Source way back when?
I mean, Dave was going. Dave.
How did you meet Dave?
I had a group called the RSO, the Almighty RSO. We was like the top group, in Boston, for whatever that was worth. You know what I'm saying? And we was at a radio station doing a live broadcast, because back then hip hop really wasn't being played on major radio stations. So we was at a college radio station. We was at Emerson, and Dave had came up there to interview the group. And I just remember him interviewing the group. He said he had his own radio show at Harvard to come over there. My DJ 2 times went over there, was his DJ. And then we just developed a bond and a friendship, because Cambridge was Harvard was in Cambridge, and I'm in the hood, Roxbury, Dorchester. So, we going over there, it's a whole new world for us. We in there. And,
how does a white guy from Harvard get with a hood dude?
That's what I was thinking. I just didn't understand. It just didn't make sense.
Dave was from D.C., So Dave been around hood all his life. Dave
Right.
been around black people all his life. Like Dave's more black than some of the black guys I
An
know.
envy. Yeah.
Watch your mouth.
So, I mean, it was the friendship at first. He was really into, then he had moved the magazine. He had got up with his college buddies. They owned the magazine. Like it was a misconception because I really didn't see a check from the Source to maybe like 99. The Source was like, it was discovered in 88, one piece newsletter. And it was just a matter of two friends supporting each other. And, I mean, back in that days, what I'm saying? Like, I had the muscle thing going on. I had a crew. And, if there was any problems that he was going through, then, look, I'm there for him. And then he would, introduce me to different executives like a Tommy Boy and stuff to come down to Boston and see the group. And it was just a real friendship. And, like, we've been together ever since,
What do you think about the magazine game now? Do you think it's still room for magazines?
Yeah, definitely. And actually, the print game's coming back. I mean, it was a rough patch because, a lot of people don't understand, like, when the Source fell, it was because of a bad loan deal. I mean, Dave and Steve Stout at the time came up with an idea of the Source.com. This was like way before all the .coms came out. This was like in 96, 97. So took out a big loan from a bank like in Providence. At a 21% interest rate, like borrowed $9 million at 21% interest rate. So it really put the magazine in a hole because the Source.com at that time didn't work. We found out that if you have two mediums, it just doesn't work. Like if you have a magazine, the advertising it has to stay with the magazine. At that time, they felt that they could do both, and it didn't work. So we ended up having to pay like the principal payments. The next thing you know, but it ended up that later on that the boom of the internet kind of killed the monthlies because by the time you went and got the monthly, you had already knew about everything going on. So after the whole Source thing, I had already came up with the idea for Hip Hop Weekly because I was into the Stars and the People magazines. I would get on those long flights to LA and just stack up on all of them. And I would read, and I just noticed that there really wasn't. I mean, they would cover the Diddy's and the J's, the Beyoncé's, but there really wasn't like. There really wasn't no coverage for everything else that goes on.
Right. So,
the name Hip Hop Weekly was available. And you got to understand, when me and Dave lost Source, we lost everything. I mean, we was flat broke. That was it for us. So, we just had each other. We just believed in each other. And we just felt like, if we just stayed the course, because at the end of the day, I mean, Dave did something that was, he was ahead of his time when he discovered the Source. So we just felt like if we stayed the course and just believed in each other, then, we'd be all right. And then, 5 years later, Hip Hop Weekly is really outselling the Source right now.
So who lent you money to do Hip Hop Weekly? Who was your backbone?
You know what? The one person that really came to our aid was Lisa Ray. Yeah, she kept it 100. She had married Michael Missick, and she was the first lady, and it was caked up. And we had at that time we was at the Source time we did the All Access TV show with Lisa Ray. We let her host the Source Awards, so the bond was really close. And like she was really one of the only ones that really came to our aid.
She still got stake in it now?
No, because it wasn't. It's not like she really wanted too much of a stake. It was like, okay, here you guys just do it. Just when you got that back, just give it to us. And she's a beautiful person.
Did y'all sell the name of the Source? Like, how was the Source able to keep going?
We didn't sell nothing. It was basically a takeover. The people that came in there, we ended up signing contracts that like when you have we're on the board. See, I don't know about this stuff, but we was on the board. Me and Dave was the only ones on the board. Black Enterprise came in, and they was able to put some more people on the board, and they voted us out.
Wow.
But it was a blessing in disguise because at that time it was like we owed the bank almost $20 million. You know what I'm saying? So we walked away. I mean, granted, we walked away with nothing, but we was able to start over with no debt.
Did they take everything from y'all, your houses and all that?
We lost everything, cars, houses, everything. Yeah, everything.
So with the lawsuit that you had, you never ended up having to pay like Kim Osario?
No, well, and I can't speak on that too much, but the Kim situation was an unfortunate situation. You know what I'm saying? I mean, me and Kim was super tight. You know what I'm saying? And it was just unfortunate. You know what I mean? But there's I don't have any bad things about Kim. She's over there doing her thing now. Big ups to Kim and everything. But it was just, I mean, things happen. Between that lawsuit, I had got indicted by the feds on taxes. We got sued by Eminem for copyright infringement. I mean, everything was just hitting us left and right. But, I ended up beating my case. I was found not guilty. I took it to trial. I'm one of the only ones you know, when you look at all these tax cases now that a lot of artists are going through, I actually beat my case in Boston, and you know what I'm saying. You know, nobody really ever talked about that. So you know, a lot of the money went.
Did the made men have to tie anybody up and put them in the basement? You know,
nah, man, you can't. You know, when it comes to the feds, man,
Yeah, I don't think you can
You
tie
mess
the
with Uncle
feds
Sam,
up.
you ain't gonna catch that
man,
guy.
you can't mess with Sam. You know, so you can mess with a lot of people. But you know, I mean, you know, I ended up beating all my major cases. A lot of the money went to lawyers. And you know what I'm saying, we was scot free basically to, you know what I'm saying, to build the next situation we was doing. And you know, I mean, really, if there's anything, it's just a testament to just loyalty. Like me and Dave was loyal to each other. We believed in each other. And like I said, I know, you know, we probably rubbed a lot of people, you know, the wrong way, but that's the past. And like you said, with amends, you know, as you grow up, you know what I'm saying, you just can't keep making the same mistakes. And you know, like I'm a humble dude, you know what I'm saying? Like we helped a lot of people in the Source. Like we, you know, kind of a lot of people, we helped their careers and everything, and I know that. So I don't have any bad taste in my mouth. You know, when we fell, it wasn't too many people out there. But you know, that's just life. So it's good to be back in New York. Doors are opening up again. The love and hip hop thing is like totally like, I mean, I'm like a new person now, you know. I walk down the street, man, I'm taking pictures, I'm signing autographs. It's just a beautiful thing, you know.
If you saw any of those old beefs, any of those old issues, whether it was 50 or M, like how would you react? Like,
you know, me and 50 was cool, man, before all this, you know, like, you know, it was just weird how it happened. Like, when that situation at the Hit Factory happened, you know, with Ja, and Ja's my family, like, there's no question about it. That's my brother. But when that happened with 50, I hadn't known Ja Rule yet. And I was down with the Made Men and Sony at the time.
Talking about when they beat up 50 in the studio.
When that situation happened. So 50, you know, one of the guys at the Made Men was outside smoking a cigarette and stuff. So 50 had came and seen him, and that's when he brought him in. That was the first time I met him, and he had showed me he had been cut. You know what I'm saying? He was telling me the story. So, you know, we had a car service at that time.
He was leaking at the time.
A little bit, you know what I'm saying? So I called him a car service, you know, the Atlantic car service we had with the Source, and I guess it took him to Bellevue. So me and then I had seen him in Puerto Rico, you know, with Jam Master Jay, you know, God rest the dead. And
Absolutely.
you know what I'm saying? I had seen him in Puerto Rico, and we gave each other dap. I tried to get him on a song with me and Jada at that time, and then, you know, the Eminem thing happened. And, you know, when you look back, you can understand him being loyal to Eminem. I mean, Eminem just gave him a shot. So, you know, when you look back, you can understand everything. It's just crazy how things went, because then I moved to Jersey, and then me and Ja Rule, and, you know what I'm saying, so I got real close. It's just crazy how things happen. But, you know what I'm saying, again, if I see 50, it's like, what up? You know what I mean? It wasn't nothing to where it's like it was a life and death for me. You know, beef is, you know, people die in beef. People get buried. You go to funerals and wakes. Like, I know beef. I grew up hard. You know, I grew up in Boston crazy. So this was, you know what I mean? Like, I look back at that now, and that was nothing. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I mean, I could, you know, say, look, you know, sweep it under the rug and keep it moving.